How are you, folks? The Enzo DiCascenzo podcast, and this is the next time value of money video that we're going to be looking at, and this is number 8. So you guys you're really covered for all of January 2023. I owe you an introductory video, which I might cut either tomorrow or Wednesday, and we'll pick it up from there. Okay. But today, what I want to talk about with you guys are two sort of reboots of these problems that we looked at last week or the last videos. So what you have here is you have a $590 million payment. And folks, let me tell you something. These, you might be sitting there saying, oh, look at these amounts and how much is this and how much is that. You get into private equity, you get into private debt, you get into private transactions, it's going to be tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. So learning about installments and paying for company acquisitions, people aren't just digging into the pocket for 150 million. Okay, they're working out cash flows is what they're doing. So this problem, the previous version of this was the lottery problem. The previous version of this was 310 million. That was the version that we worked on here, over the 30 years kind of a situation. And now we're doing a 500. So, and the reason I think this was I had like maybe the 8th edition of the book and the 9th edition of the book. Well, we're just going to redo this problem again, and I don't think I think that's going to help you to look at us redoing this problem. So here, it's going to be equals 590, 500, 1, 2, 3 divided by 30 years. Okay, so there. So that's where the 19 million comes from. All right. Now, again, I don't play the lottery. I don't know if these are the amounts that are out there. I've really no idea. But, some cash flow that's going to be broken up into 30 pieces by, about 20 million. Did I say euro? I meant dollars. Yeah, I'm busy saying euro. What an annuity is, we'll just repeat that. It's a level stream of cash flows that continues for a specific number of years. You'll hear this terminology in the finance conversations. You're going to care about interest rates. You're going to care about time periods. You're going to care about dollars per year. And again, we state without proof the value today of of these cash flows. Now, when we say interest rate, right? I says interest here. This should really say interest rate. I don't know why it says interest. This should say interest rate. What that really should say is that. And then up here, and if you guys don't mind, if I just go through this a bit, that one, yeah, these are interest rates. Well, it says interest, but okay. So. Yeah, so we have that rate, and this number, I looked at one of the acquisitions that we're dealing with, and I was using about an 8%, an 8%. What do you call it? An 8% discount factor. And the company that we're looking to acquire, they're using a 6.5%. So it's not that far off. I mean, it's a 1.5%. It's not nothing, but it's also not that far off. So I was just I don't want to say guessing, but just using sort of my experience with that. And I was happy that I sort of caught up with that. But what this, you can have people who just pick this number and people who want to fight over it. What that discount factor should be. Really what that is that's, if you could invest in something else, what would you earn from the something else? That's what that rate really is. So that's what that really looks. That's the meaning of that. Again, there's a whole chapter in the and it's not so obvious that's what it's about, but there's a whole chapter in the economics textbook about two people on an island, and one of them is a good farmer, one of them good at cutting trees and making lumber out of the trees, and who should spend time for 30 days in a month. Who should spend time doing what? That's sort of that's opportunity, and it doesn't give it as a percentage, but you can convert those activities into some sort of returns or percentages or something like that. This formula, this is the present value. So we know the cash flows, right? The cash flows we computed up here. That's about the 20 million euro, or $20 million. The second time I said euro. Okay, so that's the $20 million or so for the cash flow. So now that you have the number of periods, you have a discount rate, and you have a cash flow, you can launch into plugging into this formula. It says today. Now, the easiest way to do this is just to say 30 times that number, which is just what we did. 590 million, right? If you take 30 times this number, it's about 590 million, about a $500 million. But we want to be more sophisticated than that. We want to say, okay, well, now, and again, it's also which side of the transaction are you on? Are you on the accepting side or in the paying side? So for the people who ran this lottery and collected all this money, the deal they make with these winners is as follows. They say, hey, we could pay you once a year for the next 30 years, or give you a lump sum today. The lump sum today is not going to be $590 million dollars. Okay, it's going to be broken up into these 30 payments, and then what is that worth today? It's not 590 million or 20 million a year. It's not either one of those. It's going to be a number that's going to be less than the 590, because what they do is they say, okay, if you choose the payment plan, we'll take our capital, we'll invest it, and we'll peel off 20 million a year every year for you. But how much capital should they have? Now, the just to break the suspense of it, it's going to be maybe half of 590 million. So in other words, so whatever agency runs these, it could be the state of New York or whatever it might be, whatever agency runs these activities, they'll put their capital into some sort of investment vehicle. They'll be able to pull out 20 million a year. So they're not going to be on the hook for 590 or 300 million or something, but it'll be about 350. It's going to be about 300. So it's just about a little more than half of that. And we work out the percentages someplace, that kind of a thing. Okay. So for the people say, give me 590, it doesn't really work that way. It's either the installments or the present value of the installments. Okay, which is going to be less. So it could be a little disappointing. Say, I thought I won 590 and it's about 350. But still, I mean, who would really complain about that? Okay, so the first version of this, um, is equal present value. The rate is, and the rate's got to match the period. So that's 3.6 a year, 30 times. Now the payments would be the 19, and then you end up with nothing at the end of all that. So in other words, what this agency has to do is they have to deposit 357 million and change into an account that's got to return, or allow them to pull out 20 million a year for 30 years. And at the end of the 30 years, it dissipates to zero. Now, I did not work out that specific table where it shows the interest earned, but that's the second problem that I'm going to work on today. So this is sort of an initial problem to determine the present value. This next one is the sort of the Bill Gates problem. It says, look at Bill Gates, and then we'll do this another one of these sort of the next video through. It has a table here, and see the table has a little more detail than previously. End of year balance, remaining balance. We hit something like this. We had a short version of this someplace. That's not that. Somewhere along the way, we did something like this. It was like a 3-year. Yeah, this one. It's like this, where there's an initial balance, a couple payments, there's interest earned during the year, kind of a thing. And what was this? This was you buying the car and making these payments. And then the question was, of the 8,000, 4,000, 4,000, what do you need to, achieve these 4 payments? Well, at least you need 8,000, right? Let's start with that. You need to up front. And then the question is, do you need another 8,000? Do you need 16? Well, the answer is no, because you pay out 8,000, but then you have another something amount of capital in there. Well, the capital, we backed it out as 15,133. You paid out 8, you have 7,000 left. From the 7,000, you're paying at the end of the first year. The 7,000 works for the whole year at whatever as 8%. So you've earned 570. You add 570 to the 7,133, then pull out 4,000, and that leaves you with 3,703, which will grow to 4,000 at 8% in a year, it's earning 296, and then you have zero at the end. This was just a 3-year version of this. We're going to do a heftier version of this. We'll do the longer version of this. Why do I have this? So we're here with this, right? Yeah, we'll leave that. We're going to leave that in there. Okay, so we don't have that detail, but that'll be the second problem today. We'll have that detail. So here's using just Excel functions and the pre-made Excel functions with payments, rates, and years. You need 357 million and not the whole 590, because if you keep pulling out 20, 20, 20, the capital that's in there grows. What's left from that 20 every time you pay it every year grows. We should have had a table that worked all of that out, but the next one is that. The next one works on that. So we did it like that. You could do the annuity factor. The annuity factor is just what's in square parenthesis. That equals parenthesis 1 divided by 3.6. 1 divided by 3.6. 1 divided by 1 plus 3.6. Boom, boom. All that. Oops, and we're not done yet. We need the exponent. 1 over 1 plus r is the green one gets an exponent of 30. Yeah, there's your factor. So what that means is you're going to pay out $1 a year for 30 years. You need $18, earning at 3.6% a year to pay out $1 a year for 30 years. That's what that annuity factor means. So you need 18. So you pay out $1, you have 17 left, but then that earns a little bit. You pay out another $1. What's left earns a little bit until you whittle it down to 0. Okay. This version. So now all you do is you're going to do product of the cash flow, comma, factor. 357 is that. Okay, and then this version, the one I had, this is sort of the NGIT version. This is just us doing everything in one cell. You have the cash flow, comma, parenthesis, 1 divided by 3.6 minus 1 divided by 3.6 times 1 divided by 1 plus 3.6 exponent 30. Yeah. Right. There's your 357. That's just sort of the NGIT way. And that's just how good your algebra is. Okay. I'll go back to this in a second and blow it up a little bit for you. Yeah. See? Okay. So see the formula up there? I can hit it here. How we did this. Instead of the math, I just converted that to Excel. It's just AL 271. That's column AL, row 271, and AL 270, row 270, row 269. It's all column AL. It's just these three numbers. Okay, there. Okay, and then what I did here, this was just simply taking the present value divided by what I should have had there. I should have had that 590 in a cell someplace. I hard coded it, which it's kind of a bad style, but for now we'll just leave it like that. Okay, so you're at 60. The present value is at 60% of what you're nominally being told you won. Okay, but it's payments. Okay, it's payments. So again, if you multiply these payments, okay, the value today. So what this does is breaking this up into these payments allows the lottery entity to not have to advertise 590, but not necessarily have to have 5. They don't even have to have 400 or 500. They have to have like 350 or so. a million, and they can invest that at a very reasonable return over 30 years. And you're saying, well, where does all this money come from? Well, they're selling these tickets, and every single person doesn't win. It's like the insurance business, basically, is what this is. Warren Buffett would love this business. You sell all those tickets, and one person's going to get it. And and how do you determine how much it is, and all these other kinds of things? God knows what the collection is in terms of these tickets. And it's I read Warren the biography about Warren Buffett that was written in the 90s by Roger Lowenstein. So it cuts off at like 1995. So like the last 30 years, I gotta get another biography about the next unexpected. That's another career. Warren Buffett probably thought it was over right in 95, and he had another 3 decades to go. So keep that in mind. That you could last for a very long time if you just take care of yourself. Um, but he had something like this. I don't know if it was a lottery, but there was some business back in Omaha when he was a kid that he was involved where they were selling these tickets, or bought the Cokes for 5 cents and sold them for 6 cents or something like that. So he did all sorts of things, but very based in him and Charlie Munger, who were the two partners in that business, and Berkshire Hathaway, the two main people in it. They worked in a retail store, like a Walmart, but now, like a general store, like the Midwestern General Store. You guys probably don't know what that is, but because at one time it was a little more suburban around here. That now it's like Brooklyn and the Bronx. Living in Essex County, Hudson County, but it was a little more suburban. And you had that general store and that kind of a thing. You had that where it sold. It was like a Walmart, but a small version of a Walmart, basically. And here, this is just the conclusion. So 30 payments, 358, less than the 590. It's 60% of the 590. So we had those conclusions there. Okay. Now we exploded this sort of analysis, so just to sort of show what we're doing here, because I think that's an important component of what we do here. So this thing plus one right there. Control D. Did he get it right? Yeah, we got adjusted 30 years. That's good fortune with that. Okay. And then now this is not the payoff table. This is just illustrating the cash flows. Okay, so you're going to just take that annual cash flow. Control D. There's your 30 cash flows. You don't have to add them up or anything. That's not going to do much for you. You're going to have to add these up. Okay. And then what you do is you take each one. You take each one, right, which is right there. Right, you take each one, and you work out the time value of money for that. And what you'll do is you'll add up everything, and I'll just do it ahead of time. You'll add up everything in there. We don't have that done yet, but you'll add all those up. So what am I talking about? Well, you're going to take that cash flow divided by, and this just goes back to our initial example, 1 plus this rate, and then to the exponent of just whatever the counter here is, and you want to lock in the column. You're going to copy that formula. You're going to clear out the fill here. Okay, so see what happens now. So we anchored the row. So the 3.6 is always referred to, and the column, it's always going to be 1, 2, 3. The row can change, but the column will be locked into column AJ. So you get the value today of 19, you have 20 million 2 years from now, 20 million a year from now. And as you go down, you'll see that number will get smaller, right? If you need 20 million in 6 years, today you only need about 16 million. And you go all the way down with doing that. And you can see there's your 357. Okay. That's the number. So I just broke it up for you guys in pieces. Okay, which is that. That's pieces. I just added everything up. That's here. That's the value today. And that's the present. So when you 20 million in 30 years, they only need about 7 million because it'll work at 3.6%. Okay, that's what that means. Okay, that's what that means. And then what we do here, we did these checks. So this is the rate, and this is well, the period you're going to refer to this for the periods. The payments are here. And yeah, see how that guy gave you the same number? 18 million. You're going to copy the formula. Okay, what? So we have to lock in the 3.6. That's to get locked in. And this stuff, this is just, you can lock in this column. You can lock in this column. There it is. And this would be, how do we do this? Did I pick the wrong? Yeah, this is that, like that. Sorry about that. There it is. There it is. Yeah, we're not using payments. We're using the future value. You need 19.6 million a year from now. And that's whatever, 3.6 a year from now. Then you did 2 years out, you did 3 years out, 4 years. Whoops, you did 4 years out, 5 years out. Okay. And then Control D, you did them all. So this is just you said these all again. The negative means you got to put that money in. That's what that means. And this is just this other one here. This is just the summation. $357 million. All the other numbers match. And this other one, this is just using, yeah. This one just uses everything. So we'll do the 3.6 and we'll do 30 years. And now we'll do payments. And then it ends up with 0. And see how that just gave, so just in one fell swoop, you got your 357. But here's the thing, though, with doing it like that, you lose all the detail. I want to show you guys there's 30 payments and what the present values are. Okay, so this was a substantial problem. And some of you are freshmen. I know the 102, the EC 102, this might be a little tough to look at it, look at some of this stuff. But you, like I said, you've got to go through and all the detail that I type up, you've got to take the Excel and you've got to type that in there. Okay, you've got to be able to do that. All right. So that was half of what I wanted to do today. The other half is coming. Okay, and here we go. All right. The Bill Gates version. There's a couple versions of this, and his net worth keeps sort of moving around. And actually, just as we're talking here, I'm not going to throw the article in there, but Bill Gates net worth. Yeah, he's up to 103. He's up to 103. So Buffett's right there. Bezos is there. This is the Mexican guy. But yeah, the information technology was worth, Bezos and Zuckerberg, it was worth it to these guys, right? William Henry Gates III. So he's up to, so we got to do a third version of that problem. We have two versions. We have the version, his net worth in 2015 was 79,000. Yeah, 79 billion, right? He was 79 billion was his net worth at one time. And actually, I'm just looking here. Did we yeah, so we're here with this. Yeah, 79 billion at one time, right? That's the 100, 1,000. Yeah, 79 billion, folks, not million, billion. So we can start with that number. And the problem here is how does he use it all? That's really, if you could believe it. That's really what they're talking about. How does he use it all? The autos problem, multiple cash flows, Rika, whatever. Yeah, this is the lottery problem. We looked at the lottery problem just right here. Yeah. So this one's 67 billion, and it's now up to whatever. This is the 79 one, but there's a 67 one. There's another one below there. We'll do that next time. But yeah, so we'll do these two problems today, and then this will take a half hour. So yeah, so our guy, the net worth of our guy here is 79, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you should because I even stuttered for a second. 79 billion. Okay, that's with a B. 79 billion. So okay, we have two of these here for some reason, but okay. Oh yeah, I see what we did. We did something with interest rates. There's another. All right, we'll do that. We'll hit that. But anyway, that's what his fortune is. So let's start with that. This is this guy's fortune, and we'll start at that point. We're looking at 30 years, and we're looking at 6%. Okay, which is that? And we wanted to figure out. Yeah, we want to figure out his annual spending is what we want to do. So he uses it all. That's so, and in other words, so here's again nominal interest meaning, not inflation adjusted, just the actual sticker rate. Looking at this, saying, okay, well, if his fortune is worth 79 billion, what can he spend? So is it as simple as just doing this? Is it as simple as saying copy? Uh, is it that simple? Is it as simple as 2.6 per year? Is it as simple as that to do? Well, I mean, that's a way to look at it. Okay, but when we do the time value of money version, you'll notice the difference between just dividing by 30, right? And because what happens is, okay, you're going to spend 3 million, but then you have the other 76 working for you, and then if you have 73 million working for you, then 68 million working for you, and all that. So and you're not accounting for that, and it's over 3 decades. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to let's work out the annuity factor based on this rate. Okay, that's number one. So equals parenthesis 1 divided by 6% divided by 6%. And this is this. This is 30. Okay, so what this means is if you want to spend $1 a year for 30 years, there should be $13 sitting there. And that $13, if you pull out a buck, and it grows at 6%, that'll last you 30 years doing that, starting with $13. Okay, that's what you pay the financial planners. And now they're using software. There's no way that they're not using software to do stuff like this, but that's what they're doing. They're using software. So you have $13. Okay. Now you're saying, well, what does this mean, for me? Well, the other version, the problem we just worked on, the lottery problem, you took a bunch of payments, multiplied it by this factor, and determined what the present value was of 30 years of payments. You have the present value today. You have that. Okay. What you're trying to figure out is what's my cash flow? Well, if you have 79 billion divided by this factor, it'll tell you you can spend about 6 billion a year. Okay. You can spend about 6 billion a year and never run out of money for 30 years, as opposed to spending 2 billion a year. So in other words, you're doubling your utility almost, right? Or yeah, more than doubling your utility. Okay. That's really what this is telling you, because you're leaving you're leaving the majority of the capital in there to work. Okay. That's really what that's telling you. Okay. So that's what we solved for. You can do a check if you wish. You can do a check in here. Let's look at how we did a check. The check says equals PV parenthesis, and you're lucky you're not doing quarters, or you're not doing any of those kinds of things. These payments, and then it ends up with 0. Yeah. So you have 79. You have 79 billion is what you got. Yeah, so we just use I just changed the formatting to what I had here. To accounting. Okay, so this feels a lot like what we just did. Okay, but the difference is we're trying to back out the cash flow, as opposed to and the good thing is we'll do another one of these. The next video we'll do another one of these. We're trying to back out the cash flow, is what we're trying to do. And it says that stream of cash flow is one payment for 30 years, 5.739 billion a year for all these years. Okay. This is just nominally done, is what that is. But here's how we're going to enhance this now. And you keep hearing about interest rates and this and that. The Federal Reserve, we looked up their projections, and they're telling us that they're looking at an assumption of a 3% long run inflation rate. Okay. 3%. And here's the formula: 1 plus real times 1 plus inflation equals 1. And again, you want to have some sense. And we're going to do another one of these, so don't be concerned if this is if this is already running away from you in a sense. Don't be concerned about that. Oops. There, it's clearing out the fill. So now you want to solve this for the real interest rate. Well, equals 1 plus the nominal, which was up here, which was 6, right? Divided by 1 plus the Federal Reserve's inflation rate, and then subtract 1. So your rate now is whittled down from this lofty 6% to just about 3%, 2.91. And now you can do all of this over again. So it's really what you can do here. All right, so you're going to copy this, the net worth. Okay, there's your 79 billion. Is there. And now, instead of using the 6, you're gonna now what you can do, if you want, if you feel comfortable doing it, you're just referring to the 6 and the 30 years and the 6% up there. So instead of using the 6 now, you're using the 2.9. So you can just say copy this, drop it in there, and just start pulling stuff around. This is the 3. Here's your 30. Actually, no, it's this one, and that one. There we go. There's your 19.82. So you've computed an annuity factor, right? You've computed this instead of using 630 years, you're using 2.9% in 30 years. So you're using the same structure, but you just have new inputs. So now you need a little more because inflation. So instead of needing $13 for a buck a year, you need almost $20 for a buck a year, right? For 30 years is what that really means. Okay, and again, this is all based on 2015 dollars. Okay, so again, anytime you introduce inflation, it's another layer of complexity. Okay, it's another layer of complexity. And now, so looking at this, your spending is simply going to be its present value divided by that factor. Okay, so now you can spend about 4 billion a year as opposed to almost 6 billion a year, based on a reference year. Based on your initial year's computations, based on your 2015 computations. Again, I'm not expecting you to be. Uh, I'm not expecting you to be experts at this stuff. You got to kick the ball around the field a bit with this. Okay, and this thing, this is just, and we're not using that 6 anymore. What are we doing with this? This is, what are we doing here? We're doing this this rate, this year, and that amount. That's what we're doing. Why is this still coming as currency? I don't understand that. Change the formatting. Okay. Yeah. So again, this amount, that, so a real rate and a real amount. So this can't be a nominal rate and a real amount, real cash dollars. It's got to be real cash dollars, real interest rates, nominal cash dollars, nominal interest rates. It's got to work that way. Okay. All right. Now I'm looking at what we did here, or how we did this. Yeah, we worked on so this is the real version of this, and now we're gonna flip. Now we're gonna work on the table that we just discussed, and then we'll do another one of these, and I'm hoping that I have a real version too down here. Maybe this other one will do a real version of this. I'm not gonna do it today, but we'll do this nominally, and I think we're gonna come back and do a real version of this. Using real computations, using the real numbers, the real cash flow, and the real percentages. Okay, so William Henry Gates III, right? Wasn't that his name, William Henry Gates III? Where is it? Said it. Yeah, William Henry Gates III. Okay, there he is. Here's the years. So you're looking at, these are mid-year computations. This is 0. Okay, this is this plus 1. And all mid-year stuff. And again, you want to June to June, however you want to look at it. But that's you want to, is it the end of the year? That matters. That matters. Okay, that always matters. Okay, so we're at the start of, we're at the June, whatever this is, mid-June 2015. So he walks into your office in Pequannock, New Jersey, right? Whatever, Lake Pequannock, New Jersey, or something, and said 79 billion. That's what I got. I got 79 billion is what I got. He starts with that number. Okay, there's nothing happening for the balance of these 6 months. That's all open space, and he wants to do a drawing. Okay, so your initial amount is your 79 billion. Right, you're going to have a payment that you've previously worked out. You've worked out that payment is 5.7. Right, that's your payment, and then all the payments should be that. Yeah, all of these payments should be here. Again, 30 payments. 30 payments of this number. Yeah, if you just nominally look at these, it's 172 billion, right? If you just nominally look at these, it's 172 billion is what this is. This is 5, whatever. Yeah, 5739 billion a year. Yeah. Okay, and then if you add those up, it's 172 billion, but that's got, a varied usefulness. The payments are at the end of the period, so it'll be June 2016, you get your first payment. So what you have here, and we'll work it out right here, you're gonna take this amount, you're gonna take your balance at that current time, you're gonna multiply it by your 6%, and you wanna lock that in there. You want to open this up a bit. Okay. And this, yeah, this is going to move with a column. So we'll lock the column in. Okay. So in other words, so you're 79 billion, whatever that number was. Yeah, you're 79 billion. Um, earned about 5 billion for the year. Okay. Yeah, these are the same. Yeah, I sort of doubled up my thinking here for some reason because the book does it. And if you look in the textbook at all these problems, this is about where begins and ends here, and that's it. Okay, I made this whole. I'm thinking back to my NJIT days and what those tables looked like, and I have those books. I just got to dig them out from wherever they're hiding. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say, okay, we had 79, we took out the payment, and we took out the interest. That leaves us with 68 billion. Yeah, 68 billion. That leaves us 68 billion. Yeah, because this is 5. Yeah. Okay. And that's the table. And I looking back, I could have done this for the lottery. I could have done this with the real the real payments and the real interest rates and things of that nature. I could have worked all that out. And we will next time. The next video will take this, to that next step. And then what you do, so your initial balance, so that you're at the end of period 1, your new initial balance is that. That's your new, and then you can take that all the way, do 10 years of that. Okay. This is from that number. I think I can do, yeah, right there. So now you're earning a little less interest because you have a little less capital. Right. This is just this. This is at 58. And this is that. Again, all formatted as accounting, no dollar signs, right? Know your formatting. Okay, and the third period connects to the end of the second period. All right, so again, you earned a little less interest. And the whole point of this is after you do this for 30 years, that's supposed to be 0. That's really what that's supposed to be. So now once we have all this, we're in business. We can do that. We can do that. And oh, what didn't I do? I didn't anchor. Yeah. Didn't anchor. If be careful when to anchoring. Um, so you're here with this. Yeah. So you have your 4 billion, yeah, your 4 billion came out of that. Your 79 came out of that. So yeah, these come out to zero. Okay, which is that? 47. Oh, whoops. See what says remaining balance? I subtracted. This is not the lottery problem. I subtracted. Yeah, sorry about that. I subtracted. Yeah, because you're adding the interest in. Oops. So, right, you're adding the interest in. I subtracted. So, yeah, the interest gets added in. Yeah, now we're okay. Right, all the way. Yeah, see, zero. Right, zero. That's what you're after. Because that interest adds in. Okay, that interest adds in. See, so with this balance, you take what you're starting with, you earned interest, and then you made a payment. So the interest is plus, the payment is minus. Okay, and then so you're at the June 2018, you're up to 75 billion. Okay, so but you'll earn 4 billion interest, and then you have 74 billion left, and you just do all that until you use up all the money. That's it. That's it. Like I said, I got to make some space for this. Do I have it somewhere here? Where we have the real version or the real table workout, but the real numbers. Yeah, we got to try that at some point. I got to make some space for it. So okay, but there you go. All right, so you had two pretty hefty problems today. Okay, so try to generate this. I know the book doesn't necessarily have this worked out, but you have it worked out with the lecture, and you can look back at this every single time. You can look back at this every single time, and we'll do this again. Okay, we'll do this, and like I said, and we'll do this with real numbers too. Okay, all right, folks. All right. So again, you're living and dying with these lectures. Okay. So please, spend the time on these lectures and learn the material.